The drawings that children create may have dark, sometimes dangerous, and terrifying aspects behind them. This part contains drawings with stories that aren't just scary, they're dangerous. Let's start the first story. The Suspicious Car. This drawing, which appears to be just an ordinary drawing by a 6-year-old child, seems innocent at first glance. Someone looking at the picture might say it's just a drawing by a little kid playing in front of his house, but there are many small details in this drawing. In the picture, we see his father sweeping leaves, his mother standing by the window, and a few cars driving down the street. All these details suggest that it's just an innocent child's drawing. However, the truth is that there's something disturbing and terrifying behind it. The 6-year-old child who drew this is named Jake. He's a quiet, well-behaved, and obedient child, according to his parents. But Jake tends to isolate himself and spends most of his time alone. His teachers also describe him as quiet, respectful, and obedient. In addition to this, Jake has a passion for drawing. You'll often find him sitting by himself, drawing pictures, writing short stories, and creating comic strips. He loves this field and has a real passion for it. Jake has a 2-year-old brother who also appears in several of Jake's previous drawings. Jake's mother says that most of her son's free time is spent either watching cartoons, YouTube videos, or drawing. For this reason, there was no cause for concern from his parents regarding his first drawing. However, later on, things became truly worrying and terrifying when they suddenly found a new drawing Jake had made. This is the picture he drew in front of the house. You might have noticed something in this drawing. There's a car in the street that resembles the car from the previous drawing, and the same person who was in the previous drawing is sitting in it. This time, however, it's clear that Jake is looking at the car and waving towards it. The strangest part is that Jake's mother and father weren't in this drawing, unlike the previous one. This is interesting, but his parents weren't surprised by the car or the person supposedly inside it. So, they decided to ask him about the car. Jake told them that he always saw the car outside the house, and that the man inside it would always smile and wave at him whenever he saw him. The next day, his parents took him outside to show them the car, but he told them it wasn't there. Even after a few days, the car didn't return to the spot. Finally, one day while Jake was playing in front of the house, he quickly ran to his parents to tell them that he saw the car again, and this time, the same man was inside it. Jake's parents hurried outside to see the car, and they saw it parked in front of the house, but it quickly moved and drove away. It was a silver car with an old model. Jake confirmed that it was the same car, and that it didn't belong to any of the neighbors, as the neighbors' cars were usually familiar. After this incident, Jake's parents decided to go to the neighbors and ask if they had ever seen this car parked on the street before, but all of them answered that they had never seen it. They reassured Jake's parents that they would start monitoring the street from that day forward. A few days later, Jake's parents didn't allow him to play outside the house at all, unless they were with him. A period passed, and when they saw that the car had stopped coming, they allowed Jake to go out and play freely again. But one day, while he was playing outside, he came running back into the house in a panic. When his parents asked him what happened, he said that the same man from the car had returned, and this time, he tried to take him in the car. Immediately, Jake's father ran outside, hoping to catch the car before it left, but he couldn't. He quickly got into his own car and tried to chase the strange car, but by the time he got to his car and started it, the car had already moved, and there was no way he could catch it or find out where it went. Once again, Jake was forbidden from going outside the house. A full week passed, and one night, unexpectedly, Jake's father noticed the car parked on the side of the street while he was taking out the trash. He immediately took out his phone to start recording, hoping to capture the car's license plate. He tried to walk closer to the car slowly, without anyone noticing, but the driver noticed him, started the car, and drove away. Jake's father tried to quickly catch up to the strange car and get the license plate number, but he couldn't. It was dark, and the license plate wasn't visible. This was the last time they saw the car. It's clear that the car had stopped in front of the house multiple times to watch them. Imagine that it was even monitoring them after dark for long hours at night. According to Jake, the driver of the car would always smile at him, wave, and look at him in a strange way. The last time Jake saw the car, the man inside gestured to him, calling him to come over. Fortunately, Jake was smart enough to run away, return home, and tell his parents. There's no clear reason to explain the presence of this car in front of the house, especially at night. The terrifying drawing and the grandmother. The drawing you're about to see now was made by a 7-year-old child. The drawing itself is disturbing, but the terrifying story behind it will shock you even more. First, Jeremy is the father of the child who shared this story with evidence and pictures. Jeremy has 3 children, and his mother, the grandmother, is named Claire. Grandma Claire used to stay with them to spend time with her grandchildren. According to Jeremy, his mother was always strict in her dealings, even with her grandchildren. She was strict because she was raised in a rigid and strict household. One of Jeremy's sons, Tom, who is 7 years old, was known to be the troublemaker who didn't listen to his mother, father, or even his grandmother. For this reason, Grandma Claire would always scold him, albeit respectfully. One day when Jeremy and his wife were out of the house, Grandma Claire was with the children, watching over them. A strange incident occurred between the children. Tom hit his brother because he took a piece of ice cream from the fridge. This action made the younger child cry. This behavior was expected from Tom, as he was clearly very aggressive with his siblings. Grandma Claire's response to what Tom did to his younger brother was to get angry, hit him, and force him to stay in his room for the rest of the day. A period passed, and there were some disturbing noises in the room. After a while, things calmed down, and the child tried to leave his room. But Grandma Claire had to deal with him harshly and hit him again to make him listen. When his father returned, Grandma Claire told him what had happened. Tom was very angry and annoying, throwing everything in the room against the walls and on the floor out of frustration. It's possible that during this time, while he was locked in his room, Tom drew the picture you're about to see. When Jeremy and his wife returned home, Grandma Claire strongly warned them about Tom's extreme anger. Jeremy and his wife went to Tom's room, angry, to scold and punish him. When they opened the door, they were shocked to see Tom standing in the middle of the room, smiling and looking at his parents with a strange expression. On the floor next to him were his drawing tools and many drawings scattered all over the place. Among them was one drawing that caught their attention because it was the only one that was folded and crumpled. When they saw it, this is what they found in the picture. It appeared that Tom was cutting off his grandmother's head and hanging it from the ceiling. Above this horrifying scene, Tom had drawn his mother and father watching the situation and smiling with evil smiles, as if they were enjoying his crime. He had labeled each character with their names above their drawings, including himself, his grandmother, his father, and his mother. What the parents saw shocked them deeply and clarified many things. Most importantly, the extent of the mental disturbance this child had reached. After seeing the pictures, Jeremy scolded Tom but decided not to let Grandma Claire see them because she certainly wouldn't like what she was about to see, nor would it be a pleasant feeling to see her grandson's drawing of her. But the matter didn't end there. The next day, when they allowed Tom to leave his room to have breakfast with them, as soon as they sat down to eat, Tom told his grandmother while sitting at the table that he hated her very much and that he would kill her. Claire was shocked by the child's words and didn't say anything. Jeremy got angry with Tom and told him to go back to his room immediately. Tom looked at his father and grandmother with a malicious look, smiled, then got up and went to his room. As for Grandma Claire, she got up, packed her things, and returned to her house. From the day Jeremy shared this story, Claire never returned to their house. Their behavior was always abnormal. The child was clearly violent and concerning for his age, but this drawing and the actions he took against his grandmother convinced Jeremy and his wife that Tom needed to receive psychological treatment as soon as possible.